So I want to talk about some stuff. Mainly, I want to talk about, oh my gosh. I want to talk about, should we deliver packages as drivers? Because that's something that just annoys me because, first of all, I think we should. But there's nothing like, just as rideshare drivers for Uber and Lyft, there aren't any pathways, like there aren't any protocols for us to make sure we're doing everything the way we're supposed to and that we're protected. Is this stream working? I don't see anybody. Let me know. Can anybody hear me? Oh, there we go. Okay. So, but before I get into, oh my gosh, I can't read. Yo, go, yo. So before I get into the whole idea of like, should we deliver packages or not, I want to talk about the Valentine's Day strike. Now, even my mom texted me about it. So apparently people know. So the press has mentioned it. Anybody who's been a driver for a while, you know, like, this is not a real thing. Like, we talk about strikes, but we've actually gained a lot just by protesting. So I'm definitely for the protests because we want more transparency and we don't like the way these companies try to deceive us. And we just want them to be straight with us. Good luck, right? Billion-dollar companies are not straight with anybody, it seems. So basically what I want to say about the strike is what I think will work. If we are going to strike, there is a way that I think we can do it that will work. And it's not picking a particular day like Valentine's Day when we know it's going to be busy and striking because there's going to be surging and drivers are just going to go work. The more drivers that don't work, the more money the drivers that are left will make. And it's too irresistible because we need the money. Like, if we didn't need the money, we probably wouldn't be driving. Although I will say, I've been pretty happy driving with Lyft. Like, I'm still frustrated with the lack of transparency, and I feel like they're not giving us as much as we deserve. But then I also realize that the more money they end up giving us, the more people that are going to want to drive, which makes us less valuable. If you look at it from a supply and demand point of view, the more drivers that are out there, the less they have to pay us. So, moving on, this is what I think will work if we do decide to strike. And then I want to get into delivering packages as a driver and what I think about that. And I want to tell you a story about what just happened to me. Two things, actually, about delivering packages just happened, and it's like, blows my mind. But this is what I think will work with the protests and the striking. So if we really are going to do a strike, I think what we should do, and this is what I've noticed, probably like the busiest time of the day on a weekday is 8 a.m. Like 7 a.m., 8 a.m., it's crazy. And people are trying to get in their cars and not be late to work. So they've got everything figured out. And I don't want to hurt the passengers, but the passengers are part of the problem because they're using the service instead. Like, if the passengers striked, that would make a difference. And so how do we get to the passengers to let them know, like, hey, there's a problem here and we could use some help? What I'm thinking is we strike for 20 minutes, 15 minutes. Like something real short, but at the most critical time where it causes the companies to say, whoa, like this, like we can't have this. Like people are having, like this is causing huge problems with our customer base, our customers. We can't just have every rideshare driver in the country decide they're not going to work from 7:05 to 8:15. And that is much less of a sacrifice for us as drivers. Like, we'll probably still make the same amount of money over the course of that day, But let's say we did it every day. Let's say every single weekday we didn't take any trips from 7:55 to 8:15. That would send a huge message, and with almost no sacrifice from us drivers. So that's what I think is a logical strike that we should do and we could do, and I hope it happens. I should talk about it more. Another thing about striking, I think we should all make our I think we should all make our placards upside down. I've been using my placard upside down. I first did it because I realized that I can get a little more visibility out of my windshield, because a lot of the information, like if I cover this part, you can still see all the necessary information. So I tuck it in the corner, and I have my airport placard and my lift badge, or whatever you call these, upside down. And so kind of like if you see an upside down flag, it's a sign of distress. And so I think we should all put our emblems upside down as a sign of distress, in the back and the front. But moving on. So I want to talk about, I'm at the Tesla charger, by the way, in Santa Monica. So if you guys are out here, like, let's go get some sidecar donuts. But I'm just going to finish this off by telling you this story. I'm so frustrated. So over the years, I've had passengers, they want you to take packages, like they left their glasses somewhere and you go pick them up and take them to them. And it's all good. Like I did that specific thing for a pilot, and he really needed his glasses. And so and he was cool about it. He was just like, oh, this is what's happening. He got on the phone with me. You're going to deliver it to my house. I'll come out right away. You don't have to wait. Like anytime we have passengers that are like, clearly they understand, like, we're a human being. We have our own stuff going on. It's not all about you. Those are the passengers that we have like an amazing experience. It's most of the passengers on Lyft, and they're considerate people, and it makes our lives so much better. And you really feel the comparison when you pick up a selfish passenger that's like, I'm paying for this, and they think they own you and your car just because they bought a ride. And it's like, no, you don't own me or my car. You're paying, you're a guest. Like, I'm going to treat you like a guest. But like, you guys know where I'm going. So anyways, I pull up to a florist, and then the person that I believe ran the florist comes out, drops a dozen roses onto my seat, and like, here you go, and starts walking away. And I'm like, wait, what? Like, that doesn't hold on, let me unplug the charger. Be right back. So I'm like, yo, so she's super nice. She gets on the phone with somebody, and she's like, yeah, just to see like what I'm doing. And it's like, yeah, you take it to the location, call the person on the app that ordered the ride, they'll come down and get it. So they made me wait 10 minutes. I drove all the way to Woodland Hills. So like, going back to give the flowers back would have been impossible. And another thing is, I could just keep the flowers, right? Like, I could have just kept them and said, no, none of that ever happened. Nobody gave me any flowers. Nothing ever happened. And you know how that would have gone? Like, nothing would have happened. Like, they would have just taken my word for it. And like, how could they prove anything? I mean, of course, unless there's cameras in front of, but anyways, I'm not that type of person. So I took the roses, I waited 10 minutes outside, and I'm thinking to myself, like, this is so annoying. Like, I knew, like, this whole, you think it's not a big deal until you run into a weird situation. Like, another thing that could happen, what if you get in an accident? I mean, we're not attorneys. We don't know what we're going to say that's going to totally screw things up. But I don't know, like, maybe you say like, oh, I didn't have a passenger, I was delivering roses. And then Lyft or Uber's like, that's not what you're supposed to be doing. Like, you're supposed to have a passenger. We're not going to cover that accident. like the insurance company for Lyft or Uber. And then you go to your insurance company and then they're like, you were working. Like your insurance, this insurance is for personal use. Like we're not going to cover the accident. And just because you said that you just told the truth, you were delivering roses, you didn't know any better. And now neither insurance company wants to cover you. And this is all hypothetical. I don't know if that's what would happen, but those are the kind of things that we run into when we're not operating in the parameters that are provided for us. And we're not messengers. And another thing too that bothers me about that whole situation is if they were to call a messenger and have them deliver it, it would cost them 10 times more money. Like instead of paying $20 to drive across the valley, they're going to pay like $60 to go have these roses picked up and delivered. So 3 times more money possibly, or more. And so basically they're kind of cheaping us out. And then another thing is that person that I did do that for did not tip me. So, it's just crazy. Waiting 10 minutes, not getting tipped. Anyways, it happened to me again. It just happened again. I pull up to a spot in Glendale. It's like this big building. Somebody comes out of this giant building, drops a couple bags. They're like, hey, they're like, this is not normal. Usually people just get in the car. But they're like this outside the window, like they want to talk to me. So I'm like, okay, roll down the window. And she's like, here, drops these 2 paper bags that are stapled onto my seat. It's like, here you go. Starts walking away. Same thing. Thinking like, what is wrong with these people? I'm like, hey, what's this? Like, what are in the bags? She wouldn't tell me. She's like, yeah, I mean, we drive people. We don't drive packages. And she kind of looks at me pissed off, gets on the phone with whoever it is and is telling them like, they said they don't drive packages, they drive people. And she's looking frustrated. And then I'm like, hey, like it was actually going to be a good trip for me because it was going to get me closer to home from Glendale. And I'm like, hey, what's going on? Like, what? And she's like grabbing the bags. And I'm like, wait, like, don't you want me to take these? And she's like, never mind, and walks away. I don't really understand like why the attitude, right? First of all. But then also, like, this is where the problem that I felt with that whole situation. Like, all I want to know, I'm asking her, like, where am I going? What do I do when I get there? And then she tells me, you have the address, don't you? And I'm like, yeah. And she's like, take it to the address and they'll get it from you. And I'm thinking, well, what, like, is this a house? Is it another building? Like, how are they going to know that I'm there? Should I call the person that ordered the trip? Like, just so many questions left unanswered. And it just seems so obvious to me that I need to know what to do with these packages. And then even her, because she came out of this building, this big building, I don't know where she came from. If I do have a problem, I have no way of getting a hold of her. I don't know how to bring these packages to anybody. And so then I end up just stuck with these packages. I think she realized the problem when I started explaining that. And then she just thought, oh, like, no, I'm not leaving these packages with this driver. Like, I can't be certain that they're going to get to where they need to go. Which is right. Like, it's not that I can't be trusted. It's just, what if there's a problem that it hasn't been figured out? So I think it's a good thing that I didn't end up taking that trip because she took the packages. I call the number just to let them know what happened, right? They don't even pick up the phone. And so right when that happened, I thought, oh, thank God I didn't take this trip. Because I know that's what would have happened, right? I would have driven all the way to Encino from Glendale. Those of you that know that's pretty far. And then when I got there, I would have just been sitting there. Because they wouldn't have been answering the phone. I would have had nowhere to call. I wouldn't even doubt if it was, let's say it was a house. And so at least I could go knock on the door. I'll knock on the door, and it was the wrong address, right? Like, it's the house across the street, most likely, or the house right next door. It's just, for some reason, it didn't give me the exact address, which happens often. So that's where I'm at with the whole packages things. Hey, Nick. Yeah, I'm driving. I'm over. Oh, I don't even know if he's watching. Slick Nick, he's also a driver. He just texted me. So anyways, that's where I'm at with the whole Valentine's Day strike thing, the whole driving packages things. And I wanted to talk about those things together because I have a feeling this is going to happen to us with the whole flowers. Like, people are going to try to get us to deliver flowers. And I'm not saying don't do it. I'm just saying, if you get in an accident while doing it, think about it. Think about what you say about it. And then also, if you are picking up packages, chocolates, flowers, whatever, and people are expecting you to deliver this stuff, just kindly ask them, like, what should I do when I get there? If they get an attitude with you, maybe just don't take it, because that's just a bad sign. Like, there's just certain things that, like, right off the bat, you're just like, okay, this person does not care about me. And those are not the kind of people you really want to work with, because they cause problems. Like people that get in and don't put on their seatbelt. Like, it's like that. It's not necessarily that that's a bad person, but that's the first sign usually that, like, okay, this customer does not care about. I mean, if they don't even care about their own safety, why would they care about you in any regard? All right, so I'm going to peace out on that. And if you guys are driving on Valentine's Day, I hope you guys make a fortune and turn your badges upside down. And let's do strikes in the morning. I'm not sure exactly when the best time is, but just off the cuff, I'm going to say let's strike between 7:55. Maybe we should do 7:50. Or maybe we should do, like, between 7:30 and 8. I don't know, because, like, maybe for the people that need to be at work by 8, let's talk about it. Leave a comment. Like, when do you think, like, what's a good 20-minute time in the morning that would be good for everybody, that we can all strike? So, and what do we want? What do we want? More money? Yeah, we want more money. But that might not be realistic. What we really want is more transparency. Okay? Because they're doing this whole 70% thing, Lyft, saying, like, oh, we're going to make sure. And then they sent us this thing that says, like, oh, you're making 83% of what we've taken. But they're creating an arbitrary number of what the expenses are. Like, they're not actually showing us what the real expenses are. And I don't think that they could really know. That's just something, like, they don't really know until some time has lapsed what the expenses were. Like, I'm sure they could come up with an estimation, but how do we know that that's not an arbitrary number that they just made up, what their expenses are? Because, and then also that bothers me about that is, when we first started this, we were getting 80% and they were taking 20. And with that 20% that they were taking, that was their money to do for the expenses for everything. And suddenly now we're in this weird partnership where they're going to decide what the expenses were and then just give us whatever they feel like giving us, all while trying to make us believe that they're being transparent when they're really not. All right, I'll leave it at that. Thanks for watching, guys. I'm trying to put together an edited video for you guys about driving in the Tesla. I want to do a video about my Tesla setup, because I have this thing set up so dope. A lot to talk about. I'm sorry that I haven't been posting, but I've been trying to get this car mostly paid off so that I'm not paying a lot of interest. And love you guys. And I hope you guys are doing good, and happy Valentine's Day. Peace.